Welcome to the Trades Podcast, a podcast about the business of home improvement and promoting the trades to young adults.
Yes, what's up, everybody? This is the Trades Podcast. I'm Danny.
And I'm Jeff.
And we have a super exciting episode that's coming out this week. And it has begun. You're welcome here to the Trades Podcast, where we want to talk about all things trades, whether it's education, whether it's skills, whether it's trainings, whether it's technology, the future, the past, and the present. So we're excited to, one, pass this along to you, but just even introduce our awesome, epic, awesome guest today. Give it up for Erin. Erin, how you doing?
Hi, I'm not often introduced like that. I need to have you guys follow me around. Is like, hi.
And introduce you in, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, Erin's here. She's with the Home Depot Foundation, and just super excited to, one, be speaking to the huge organization that supports a lot of what it is that trades people do around the world, through Home Depot. And just one, the foundation piece is what a lot of people may or may not have heard about. So we're excited to pass that along to everybody and, really shine the light on you, Erin, and the whole organization. So, welcome in Trades Podcast. Go ahead, introduce yourself again and the foundation.
Yeah. So my name is Erin Izen. I have been with the Home Depot for 21 years. And so I've been here in all different parts of the business, been everything from strategic business development to ops and audit, like all different things. It's a great thing about our company is that you can come in being one person and relive a number of different career lives here. But my side hustle's always been what we do for the military. I'm actually a military spouse. My husband's a Marine. My oldest stepson is a Marine. And Home Depot does a lot for veterans, both on the business and foundation and philanthropic side. And so I've been on our board since 2011 on the foundation side. And through my time, I've done things in, again, with the stores and operations, and I was in tool rental operations. And then the company decided we were going to have a larger focus on philanthropic investments on the business side. So I actually, about 5 years ago, came over to this side of the organization with HR and worked on a lot with our military work and what we're going to talk about with Path to Pro. It was a white piece of paper when I got here. And then about a year ago, we combined business and philanthropic investments, which is the Home Depot Foundation, into one organization. So I have community investments, which is all the best things about our company and all the great things that we do in the community that you probably don't know about. And so I have the business side, which includes Path to Pro and what we're going to talk about today. And then I also have the foundation side, which also includes Path to Pro and what we're going to talk about today. So we're working on it both from a business perspective and trying to help our pros get tradespeople, and from a philanthropic investment of, there's a lot of underserved communities out there that could really use the help or be in the trades and not understand what type of careers these can be. And so bringing that to them. So our foundation has been around for many years. We do a lot of giving. We've given almost $600 million to veterans causes. We focus on the veterans housing. We focus on disaster response. And then our third pillar is skilled trades training, which we call the Path to Pro program, and what I'm here to talk about today.
That's so
fantastic.
Yeah. Just covering from, those aspects of, really it all kind of combines the community all together, from your natural disasters, your training skilled tradespeople to, pass this, gain this skill, gain the knowledge, and pass it along to hopefully a family member, a friend, a coworker, and then obviously improving the lives of veterans, that do so much for us in the country already. It crosses all these checks off the list.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And it does sound like three very different things, but we often find that a disaster comes through, a veteran is homeless, and we need skilled tradesmen to help them rebuild. And so they very much all touch the home improvement space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and that's great. So you're the executive director, and you've been with Home Depot for 21 years, and and hopefully another 21. What's a little bit more about your background on of where you got to where you are today?
Yeah. So, like I said, at Home Depot, you can live a lot of different lives. So my education's actually in engineering. I'm a Georgia Tech grad, go Jackets. And so I came into actually one of our finance programs because I didn't feel like I knew much about finance. Engineers don't usually know a lot about business. Tradespeople sometimes don't know a lot about business. So I can feel where some of the challenges we face come from. And I came into a finance program here and just really fell in love with the company, fell in love with the culture. We call it being orange blooded, but we've got 8 core values that we live by, and an inverted pyramid, which it's a leadership philosophy that puts like the CEO at the bottom and our frontline associates at the top. And I just loved it. I mean, I'm a faithful person in my, home life. And so having a company that has values and, values morality and doing the right thing for our customers and our people, I just really loved it. And so with time, getting more involved with our philanthropic side through volunteering, we have Team Depot, which has it's our associate volunteer force. We do thousands of volunteer opportunities a year. We're right now in the middle of our annual celebration of service. So over the course of 2 months, we'll do hundreds and hundreds of service projects across the U.S. benefiting veterans. And so just having that at the heart of, what the company does and how we make decisions, I just fell in love with it. So I've been here ever since for 21 years. I moved around and done lots of different things, and was just really honored to be able to take this, which is candidly the best job in the company, of being able to, influence, use our big brand and big orange and big, big influence to be able to do good and to be able to stand for things and be able to help a lot of people. So I said I said my husband is in the Marine Corps. I actually met him at a Team Depot event. We were doing a playground build and way back in 2005. And he was mixing concrete for something. And I was like, well, I don't have to mix concrete if there's a Marine standing right here. And he was on an active duty assignment with Home Depot at the time. And so almost since I got to the company, I've lived the life of a military spouse at the company and how much the company does for military spouses among other people. And so I've just really loved that part. And so being able to work on that with the skilled trades, that's very close to the company, very close to what we do, and helps a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I mean, the connection between, your educational background and just how it just led you to a company, like you said, from you really looked at your home and you said, well, I need a culture. I need a company that's going to bring me towards, closer to home when I'm away from home.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
You don't,
the
and I don't think,
orange
I don't
blooded,
think,
like,
yeah, I don't think as a young 20 something, I knew that. I didn't know that companies could, be one way or another. But when I just got here, it was just a fit. And, there's been many times in my life where I've needed a company to help. Like my husband had service related lung cancer and Home Depot took great care of us. One of the other things I get to do in my current role is I'm also the executive director of the Homer Fund, which is our internal associate assistance program. And we give away thousands of hardship grants every year to our associates facing unexpected hardships, like a medical thing or a car breaking down or various things that we can support a death in the family. And so it's just amazing to be in a place that takes care of other people, both within the company and in our communities.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
pretty incredible.
yeah.
One of the things that caught my ear was your inverted pyramid.
Yeah.
I think a
Oh,
lot of people go to Home Depot and would probably really like to understand what that means.
yeah, I don't think many people know about it. I'm looking around my office to see if I have anything. I don't think I have a picture of the inverted pyramid. We have on our aprons, you will see our value wheel of our 8 core values. But the inverted pyramid is quite literally, you take a pyramid that's,
Yeah.
the point to the top and you turn it upside down. And so the CEO's at the bottom, and then our executive team and our SSC and corporate associates, and then our field leaders, and then the store associates and frontline associates. So the people that are most important at the top are our frontline associates. And then the CEOs at the very bottom, like, our leadership team is there to support the people that are above them. And we really do make decisions using that tool. Especially I saw it a lot during COVID when we were trying to decide, do we stay open? Do we close? What do we do? We're somebody that was allowed to stay open as a critical retailer that had a lot of things people needed to clean their homes and do things while we were
Yeah.
going through the pandemic. But we made the decision to, cap how many people could be in our stores at a time. We had lines outside. It was a very unpopular decision with a lot of our customers, and our competitors weren't necessarily doing the same thing. But back when we didn't know what COVID really was, and when you remember you had to stay so many feet from people and all of that, we made the decision to prioritize our associates during that time. And so we really do live by that pyramid of our associates, and then right above that, our customers being who we are here to serve.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a great place
No.
to live and work.
Yeah, I love that. No, it goes back to those values and those, core values. I think, one, it starts from, really your bottom to the top now if you're on the inverted side of things. And once they're the front lines, you're walking through the store, or again, even interacting just directly with the Home Depot Foundation. That's where it starts, where you have those people that are foots on the ground, the builders, the contractors, the skilled people, and the ones that are directly affected by really needing that help through Home Depot. And there's those resources that you guys are providing. And I mean, it's something that we're touching on is those skilled trades. The trades podcast, where we, being able to connect that skilled trades to a piece of education that people see little to no barrier to get into. Talk a little bit about that path to pro.
So you guys know, I'm not telling anybody on this podcast anything you don't know, that there is a large skilled labor gap and that there are not enough people working in the skilled trades. And so that's usually about 400,000 open jobs today in the construction sector. If you look at, different types, different sets of data, but it's projected to grow to 3.9 million in 10 years that impact our business. And that's because, people are retiring. For every 4 plumbers and electricians that retire, there's only 1 young person coming in. And it's like, I think 40% of the workforce is going to be retiring soon. And so it's a problem. I mean, if I just need somebody at my house, it's a problem for me. It's a problem for our economy. It's certainly a problem for housing prices. You guys know all this. So we looked at it and said, hey, look, we really need to get involved here. And quite honestly, when I came into the role a couple of years ago, it was a white piece of paper. I'm like, hey, we know our pro customers need labor. We know there's people out there in underserved communities that need great careers. Somehow there's a solve here where we can bring those two together. And so we have focused on kind of 3 areas. Number 1 is generating interest. And I think we'll probably come back to this because it's a lot of what you're talking about. The youth, less than 3% of young people are interested in a career in the trades. They have a lot of misperceptions about what it means to work in the trades. They think it's dirty. They think it's not reliable. They don't think you can build a wealth-creating career. And we all know that that's not true. And so we're trying to get more people interested in the skilled trades. And then we want them to get the skills that they need to be on a job site. What our pros tell us, and what I'm sure both of you could tell us from hiring, is you don't necessarily need someone that's got all this experience to start. You want someone that's going to show up on time, have a positive attitude, and be willing to learn. And if we can give you somebody that's going to have those things and has shown those capabilities, that they're even just going to show up for the interview, for one, that's going to give you a leg up as a business, because right now you're probably using Craigslist or word of mouth trying to find these people, and then half the time they ghost you. So just trying to find the people that's willing to take a online short course. For example, we've got what's called our skills program on our business side. It's online free training to learn more about what it means to work in the trades. And then we also, in partnership with our foundation, offer certifications through Home Builders Institute. We have scholarship programs through Skill Point and Folds of Honor, really trying to get as many people as we can ready, not just as plumbers and electricians and, formal trade people, but the people that are just going to be on your job site right at the beginning and start learning. And then those people are the ones that go on to become the plumbers and electricians. So it's a funnel issue. And then finally, the last thing we focus on, and Path to Pro, and by the way, Path to Pro is what we call our umbrella program for the skilled trades, is helping those people that we've now found that want to be tradesmen and connecting them with our pros on the business side for hire. So we've got, I call them pros, that's our professional customers at Home Depot. So, it can be anything from a small DIY business or small professional contractor, handyman, so to speak, all the way up to, major builder, remodeler, and even past that into MRO. But they all need labor, both from entry level all the way through, skilled. And again, a lot of people are using Craigslist, word of mouth, that kind of thing. So we built a labor marketplace. It's in Pro Extra, which is our pro loyalty program, meaning you sign in with your email and there it is for you free. And we have tens of thousands of candidates in there now looking for jobs in the skilled trades that our pros can access for hire. So It's a wonderful program all across the way, but you can see I'm talking all the way from like generating interest in youth all the way through like helping someone find a job or find another job later in their career. And ultimately, we want to support entrepreneurship in the trades as well. So really looking at that whole life cycle of skilled trades and how we get more people into it.
Yeah, we found that everybody's at a different path in their life. Where, like you said, whether they're just getting out of high school, maybe they've never been exposed to anything of the trades. Not even swinging a hammer at some point. You know, and then you have your skilled trainers that have been working with the company, looking to expand, like you said, get their own journey license, contractor's license, and then begin building their own company on their own with some more buddies. And then you have on the 200 plus employee companies that are doing amazing for themselves, and they have some sort of system, but that there's always that resource of key that I think a lot of tradespeople have always searched for, just that continued education. And that path to pro seems like it's a key piece, and it's free.
It's free, all free. Yeah. So everything from what I talked about. So if you go to pathtopro.com, that's the website that has all of our information on our programs. And that's where you can, as a youth or a career influencer, like a parent or guidance counselor, learn more about what it's like to be in the trades, because it's dispelling a lot of those myths that we talked about. And then from there, you can get to our free skills program. You can learn about the programs, our foundation funds. Some examples of those: with Home Builders Institute, we have 7 community academies across the US and growing, which is where people can go get 12-week certifications and pre-apprenticeship certifications for free. We have on 10 military bases, we're supporting transitioning service members in the same 12-week program. So as they are leaving the service, they can come into, it's called a Steel Bridge program with the Department of Defense, where people are transitioning out of service. They can come for free, and their spouse can come, their dependents can come. And on 10 military bases, we will train them into the trades. And then we have programs with Construction Ready here in Atlanta. I mentioned our scholarship programs. We're really trying to expand how we get involved. And we try to be creative. I'll give you an example. I mentioned earlier how our 3 different pillars all kind of intertwine. Our HBI, Home Builders Institute students on military bases, they were doing a great job of getting all of these hands-on experience within the classroom. And we said, well, how can we get them experience outside the classroom? So we went to Habitat for Humanity, who's another one of our partners, and said, hey, what if we funded some house builds for veterans, and you can send your HBI students that are transitioning service members to go help us build these houses. So now they're getting the home building hands-on the job site experience. And so we funded that program so that they can do both. We work with an organization called Team Rubicon, you might have heard of. It's primarily veterans, but it's a very large organization now that deploys people into disaster zones. Because who better to send into a disaster zone than somebody that's seen combat? You see and feel a lot of the same things. And so now we have a trades training with Team Rubicon, so that when they go into disaster zones like the flooding we recently saw in Texas, or Hurricane Helene and Milton last year, and they're doing cleanup, they're also learning how to rebuild and how to take those skills back. So you've got veterans doing disaster response while learning skilled trades training through our curriculum. So we try to get creative to really find where are the pain points and where are the problems where we can come alongside a nonprofit. We don't just write a check. We get very involved in the programming and development to see what can we do new and different. It's going to get more people into this space, because if we just keep doing what we've always done, we all already know it's not working. So what are those new and different and innovative ways that we can implement it?
Yeah.
One of the things I've seen about the HBI program and the veterans, when they go build at a Habitat for Humanity house, not only are they learning a skill, but they know what the work they're doing is benefiting somebody. They're giving back. It's like a double dose of good.
Yeah, it's the best. And they're able to give back. And often they're working because we're near military bases. What we're building is often benefiting a veteran too. So they get the trifecta of the disaster and veterans all at the same time, while getting the skills that they need for their second career, which, speaking as someone married to a retired Marine, and mom of a Marine, that's a big transition, especially if, like my husband was in for 20 years. It's hard to go into your next career when you're 40, or your next phase of life, and you know, a lot of what you learned in the military is fantastic skills, but translating those to civilian resumes can be very difficult. And so the more that we can help them get the experience they need to have a successful transition, the more likely we are to help also prevent veterans homelessness, since veterans experience homelessness at 2 times the rate of other populations. So again, we're back to the spider web. They all all of our work kind of sits on top of each other. But ultimately, we really want to help get as many more people into the trades as we can. And it starts with the youth.
Yeah, and it's time and time again where you hear it, where you try to find employees that are going to be structured, time committed, and responsible, and usually your veterans are going to be that
Yeah.
key piece.
Yeah,
And
very much loyal, you know, disciplined. There's a lot of great things that comes out of hiring veterans, but they have to get a little bit of that experience to be able to, you know, be hireable. Civilian job sites are different than the military, so some of the soft skills. When we hire military into Home Depot, one of the things we find at the stores is we have to explain to them how the chain of command works. You can take your lunch break when you need to take your lunch break, and you don't have to ask. Like of course you follow your schedule and stuff, but like there's things that they're just not used to that's different. Business casual clothing is different. And so, and that's none of that's a knock on veterans. It's just not something that they've experienced before. So you got to show them once, like, right? You tell them once and it's good, but you have to tell them. And so having these programs really helps with some of that separating service members too.
yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, the path to pro, the steps that that anybody can really take, and there's different, like you said, the different levels of where they might find the path to pro useful.
Yeah.
I imagine the path to pro is out there with communities and schools and ways for kids to find that piece. I mean, is there any touch that your team path to pro is kind of touched within the parent side of connecting that with
Yeah.
the
Parents are a big challenge. So I have an older stepson. He's now a plumber, but I knew what being a plumber was going to do for him. A lot of parents don't, and they don't. You know, we have, because of the No Child Left Behind Act and so many other things, guidance counselors in high schools are incentivized usually based on 4-year degree placements. There's so much going against the trades, and the parents are kind of, you know, grown up with that thought process as well. If my kid has to go to college, that's not the case. Like there's so many ways that you can be super successful without having to have that 4-year degree, and in a lot of cases not having to incur that debt. So on pathtopro.com, we do have resources for parents, for guidance counselors. A lot of our content is as
Okay.
directed to them as it is to the kids, because until you get the guidance counselors and the parents, for the youth at least, it becomes harder. We also try to have a lot of hands-on things. So Home Depot, our business is known for our kids' workshops. So with the foundation, we're working on getting more stuff into the hands of kids. So I'll give you a couple of examples. We have a partnership that we just launched 2 weeks ago with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. We've made $1 million investment to pilot in 3 cities, Atlanta, Houston, and Phoenix, with the thought to expand, to see what can we do with them to develop curriculum that is going to allow us to put hands-on experience into kids. And so these kids are coming after school. You have the younger ones that do the hands-on kids workshop things. You have older ones that can build things more like picnic tables and Adirondack chairs and things to benefit their club or their parks. And so we are building now what that curriculum and involvement can look like with Boys and Girls Club. We have relationships here in Atlanta too with the Scouts and, you know, their merit badge programs, working with them to see how can we help do more there. And 100 Black Men of America has a youth program. And then we're in over 270 schools and growing with HBI's program. Just soup to nuts, wherever we can try to get kids exposed and doing things with their hands. It helps the ones that are going to be great tradesmen realize, hey, I can do this. I'm passionate about this. I liked building this. I like using my hands. And so the more we can do to get the youth interested, then to bring the parents along too. We're always talking to them about, well, did you know this could be a fruitful career for your child, or a fruitful career for you? Candidly, a lot of them are young. That's where we really try to connect.
Yeah, you'll love this. It was my cousin out in Cathedral City recently. She's on Instagram. She's posting the kids, and there they are at Home Depot with little kids school, building airplanes and just getting their hands, on inside the space to see what it means to be in a building construction zone of like what's building these items, and then there they are building their own little airplanes. So
Yeah,
that's what
and
Home Depot's done for the
first that
community.
early, they know they can do it. And
Yeah.
even if they don't become a plumber or electrician, I know enough that I can paint, I can paint in my house. I can caulk. I can do basic plumbing repairs. I can install an outlet or a ceiling fan. Those, and if I can't, I also know where the resources are on HomeDepot.com to go do that. And so having that confidence that even if I'm not going to be a tradesperson, I can still do things with my hands, I think is important for lots of people for lots of different reasons.
Hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's great. I mean, just that partnership with Boys and Girls Club, that's a key piece where it's in 3 different locations. You said it was in Phoenix, Georgia, and
Houston and Atlanta. And that was because those are 3 locations where we have a lot of influence. And as an example, 2 of those locations have HBI academies. So if we find kids that are in high school and they're going to the after school program at Boys and Girls, they get further to these trades and they decide, hey, I want to actually go into this. We have a funnel for them to go to Home Builders Institute Academy and get the pre-apprenticeship certification, kind of get them on their way. But
okay.
we also one of the other things we feel is important is making sure that people know the different tracks in the trades. And our online skills program is really good at teaching about the different tracks. And so if anybody's listening to this and is thinking about a career in the trades, I encourage you to check that out. Because there's different things that you can do. And again, you can go to you can come out of high school, go to a technical school, learn how to be an HVAC, get an HVAC certification, put that all together in a nice air conditioned room. And then the first time you have to crawl into someone's crawl space with the spiders, you realize that was not a fit for you. And that actually happens. Some of the data that we have shows 3 out of 4 people fall out of the trades in the 6 months because it wasn't what they thought it was if they didn't have experience before they did it. So the more that we can get people doing things and trying things, even within the trades, they'll know, oh yeah, I like electrical, or I'm not a math person, so I like plumbing better. Have the different things that they can lean into so that they're more successful when they do come out of school too. And it ends up being what they wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah. The exposure is a huge piece. We've the guests that we've had on the show, it's almost been like a black and white where they were exposed to it in the beginning of their lives, whether it's family, uncle, cousins, maybe have these companies, parents, and then there's the other side where, like you mentioned earlier, where it was a shift in their career, where they
Yeah.
saw a path of success through the trades,
Right.
but it all leads to a successful path going through the trades on both ends, whether you're exposed to it in the beginning or you found that, hey, I'll do whatever it takes to be in this trade because I know the fulfillment that it's going to bring to me, which possibly me wasn't doing it before.
Yeah, and I think you made this point a little bit earlier, Danny. I think if you line up 100 tradespeople, there was 100 ways they got into the trades, and they have uniquely different ways that they learned about it. It could be their grandfather was a tradesperson. They liked shop class in high school, which doesn't exist as much anymore. We're working on that too. There's a lot of different ways that people come into the trades and find their way there. Because you don't have to have the same degree or same certification all to get into it. And so, but we find that people are very successful when they do.
Yes.
Stuff is a great example.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And what's the newest what's the newest update on what is that the Path to Pro? What's happening with Path to Pro right now?
So our biggest announcement recently was that we've invested an incremental 10 million this year recently. And the largest portion of that, those go to a lot of things. They're going to our community academies. They're going to the military academies we talked about. But the newest part of that is the Boys and Girls Club partnership. And we're really trying to do more for youth. We've realized more and more that it's a front of funnel problem. And we've got to back up where we're focusing if we ever want to be able to solve the problem long term. So we're going to be investing more in youth. We just had we launched a pilot in LA where we had the wildfires earlier in the year in January, where we're providing grants to local schools and education programs that need help with their trades, like need supplies and things. So you can apply for gift card grants of $10,000. So we're piloting that in LA to see, does that help move the needle? Does it give the programs what they need to be successful with youth and with disaster rebuilding in that case? I hope to expand that next year. So a lot of focus shifting. We're still doing the technical schools. We're still doing, the scholarships. We're not going to walk away from any of that, but moving a little bit more up the funnel to make sure we've got youth programming in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that I imagine stretches through across of a lot of trade skills training. If you could dive into what areas have been entertained the most.
Well, we are in a home improvement company, so we focus on the trades that are closest to us. So you're not going to see as much of welding or automotive, although we do some stuff there. We core focus on construction and carpentry, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. And then we've got a myriad of others. I think there's 13 programs on the skills program right now, but those are our largest because when you look at the data, it's where the largest holes are. It's the areas that are struggling the most. So that's what we talk about the most, but we're open to, all different areas. We've got even landscaping and trying to think some of the, I said automotive, we do a little bit in that space. We're open to anything that's going to move the needle. The challenge that we have and that anybody in this space has is it's very fragmented. And so if you look at the technical college system, even in Georgia, there can be several, it's hard to, there's no one group doing this and doing it right where we can turn and go, oh, great. And so that's why we have to do so much partnership and program development where we can say, all right, well, Boys and Girls Club is great. Scouting's great. We've done some work in the past with Girl Scouts. They're great, but you really have to hit it from a lot of different places and come at it to try to, be able to influence everyone because it's very disjointed. There's no national training group. HBI does a great job. They're expanding into new geographies. But it's not as easy as, I can't say veterans is easy because our veterans work is certainly not easy, but there's a lot of national players in that. Like we have, I think, 21 national partners. For the trades, we have one national partner and it's HBI. We have some scholarship partners, which tend to cover national, but there's just not as many people doing this work on a grand scale. It's all very localized. And in a lot of cases, it's plumbers and electricians and pros like Jeff was that start business and they're going and getting people and creating training programs and training them themselves or sending them to school themselves. There's not a lot of, big organizations doing it. And so that's really been what our challenge has been, especially with talking to youth. We know how to talk to customers. Like we can talk to our pro customers. We are great with product discussions. We can tell you all about the latest technology and innovations in home improvement tools and products. Not so great at talking to a 14-year-old, right? It's not our core competency, not the greatest at it. So we're having to do a lot of testing and learning to see how do I'm not young. I'm not a TikTok, person. So how do we, and I'm sure TikTok is long out of date now. So what's the thing, how people are talking to youth and how do we engage it? And again, nobody's doing it really well on a national scale. So how do we find partners to be able to do that?
Yeah, those partnerships are going to be key. Obviously, the Boys and Girls Club of America, that's a huge piece. And then we've been able to have guests from HBI come in also, where you get to learn just more the number side of really the brass tacks of what's actually happening within the climate and how can we connect those two. So that's, I think, your partnerships that are alongside the foundation just are phenomenal. One, because numbers don't lie. Once you see those numbers, it could give you a jaw dropping. But if you don't understand those numbers and be able to translate that to our youth, our education system, the parents, the community, then that's where that disconnect. I see that it happens all over the place, like you said.
It's such a broad problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But HBI, their data has shown us that I think it's a $10.8 billion cost to residential construction due to the lack of skilled tradesmen available. And so and that drives up the home prices for everybody. And then, that then causes a lot of other issues. So it's an economic and national, problem for us as a company, as a country.
Yeah. And I imagine this touches, obviously Home Depot, you go around all over the country, you're going to find them in, rural, into metropolitan areas, into, big cities, small cities. This is a key piece where, beyond the skilled trades, obviously Home Depot staffs a lot of people within their communities.
Yeah.
And is there a connection, like you mentioned? I think it was a home or fund that helps employees, and also does that help them, even give them a exposure to the path into trades through the foundation also?
So we have between 450 and 500,000 associates, and depending on if you count our subsidiaries or not. So yeah, we're a very large employer. Lots of people, obviously people close to the trades because they're working in the aisles of our stores. That's all about home improvement. We do within our associate base, we have a scholarship program that it works for 4-year degrees, but it also works for technical education. So if any of our associates are interested in continuing their education in the trades, they can absolutely do that. And then I mentioned our partnership with Team Depot. Every single store has a community captain in each store, and that community captain is the one that coordinates within their store projects out in the communities. We focus a lot on veterans housing, but they're empowered to pick things that's important to their community. And those things usually look like everything from building a ramp on a veteran's home to minor home repairs, or aging in place modifications for a veteran who, getting older but wants to stay in their home. It can be, re-landscaping a VFW, or even if you get out of the veteran space, we have stores that, help build cages for the local dog rescue, and anything that's important to that associate base. They partner with us. We partner with the nonprofit and help provide a grant for them in the store to be able to go do that work. Well, what that means is we've got thousands of associates then on an annual basis out in the communities doing things that almost always involve hands and building. And so all the time we are out there building. We've got, I think, homes coming up where we're doing homes for veterans. And so it's hundreds of projects a year. So our associates get that hands-on experience. They're, of course, in the aisles talking to our customers about what they do or what they need and what their products are. But then they can also go back and use our tuition reimbursement program if they wish to go do it in a formal capacity.
Man, that's just endless opportunity, endless support. That's just what I'm hearing through the foundation, just through Home Depot, and what it helps you just provide from start to finish.
Yeah.
And just the giving back to the community, whether it's supplies, the grant assistance of foundations to get help. There's a huge key piece that Home Depot, whether a lot of people see it or not, you guys are impacting the communities all around the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's both through our foundation, it's the work that my team does on the business side, it's even just who we are as a company. Like the best example I have is when a disaster rolls through, we're last to close and first to open as long as our associates are safe. We are the first to roll in. We have the pre-positioned trucks with our hurricane and command center. We've got the generators in and the water in, and I was in Kerrville 3 days after the flooding to see what we could do there to help. And it makes me very proud of both our company and our foundation that yep, we're a business. We have shareholders. We exist to make money, but we also care very much about our communities and our associates. And so they take the priority on our decision making.
Yeah, absolutely. And through the community, earlier we were speaking about it, where it's 40% of skilled trades workers are retiring.
Yeah.
I'd be interested, what's that conversation within your team? There's all these paths that are being placed and implemented, and of course, I think we mentioned earlier where it's not a one solution for all,
Yeah.
but there's got to be excitement through Home Depot, but also through the foundation. One, of course, through the business side, it all connects, to one, help, hopefully lower that percentage of people retiring, but it's almost inevitable. What's been that conversation within that boardroom, I guess you would say?
Gosh, there's a lot of answers to that. I would say we want them to retire. I mean, we want skilled tradespeople to go be successful and enjoy their retirement. And so we want to make that easy for them. So the easier we can make it for them to find the labor that they need to then be able to grow their business, or as Jeff did, sell your business and go on to your next phase. We want them to be able to do that. Within our team, I mean, we are a very, very lean team. If you compare our foundation and our business groups to what we do compared to others, it's a very small organization. So I have a total of 5 people in the business that work on Path to Pro in its entirety. So we are very lean and mean. So we are constantly, evaluating. Because we're small, we can be agile. So what's the next thing? How can we help? What do we do? Who have we talked to that we think might be innovative? Who's thinking differently in this space? We do a lot of convenings of our partners and bringing our nonprofit partners and pros together and say, what are you facing? What's the challenges? How can we solve your pain points? And then finding creative programs like I talked about with HBI and Habitat and Team Rubicon and things to solve the problems. That's where I think we're a differentiator, is that we really, get into the trenches and we don't just write the check. We're like, what's the program? What's the thing nobody else is doing that we can enable you to do? And we might not be able to fund it for 10 years or 20 years, but how can we provide a seed money that's going to help you start a program or help you build something that then can go on and, live and really make an impact in your community? That's what we get passionate about as a team. So we're constantly talking about, again, I said earlier, I thought it was a plumber electrician problem, that we just needed more plumbers and electricians. And I could not have been more wrong. We need young people that want to go on to become these. And then they need to know that and be inspired that I can go do this and have a successful career and take care of my family. And that's the stories we have to get out there. But to get those stories into the hands of a 15 or 16-year-old, that's a challenge, and it's very hard. And I can't even pretend that we've begun to solve it, but that's really what we're trying to focus today.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any idea what age a young adult might be most influenced?
That's a great question. We've talked a lot about that. And first of all, depending on what data set you look at, you're going to see different things. And depending on what population you're looking at, you're going to see different things as well. So it looks very different for, middle class America, urban middle class America than it might for rural poor. And so we really try, when we go into communities and partner with nonprofits and communities, we really look to understand who their people are and who their populations are and what are the barriers. Something that's important too is the wraparound services that come with some of the classes and things. You could be in a class and we can give you all the free training in the world, but if you don't have childcare or a way to get there, it's not helpful to you. So it varies based on the population we're talking to. I really think we can have the most influence in the 14, 15-year-old, just starting high school, thinking about careers. But it starts when they're young and understanding that, it's okay if I want to work with my hands, and it's okay. I like this about, I like doing things physically, or I like being outside, or the different aspects. I have an 11-year-old, and I can already tell you he's going to be an engineer like me. So I think some of it is determining when they're young, he's into math, he's into coding, he's into being on a computer. And so that is his thing. And so, that's when I expose him to that. My older son is very outdoorsy. He was super hands-on. He's the one that went to be a Marine. He came out of the Marine Corps, got into one of these programs, and now is a plumber, just passed his journeyman's test, and has, a family and has his wife and child. He's 30, and they have it's fantastic. And so what works for him doesn't work for my 11-year-old. But I think different points in people's lives, it depends. It's just different. Like we talked about, 100 people can line up. I think it's the same with kids. But I personally think the most influence we can have is in the high schools and, really when they start thinking about what's next for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with you too.
Thing in those underserved communities that really starts younger. It's here in Atlanta. Atlanta is at the bottom of cities for children coming out of poverty. We're 50 out of 50. And so if you're in Atlanta, and you are a poor child, there's a 4% chance you won't live in poverty when you're older. And so helping those younger people to know that there is another option for them, that's important too. So it's just different messages at different areas. Sorry, Jeff, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. One of the things I think the trades have failed at is, and they're still having a big problem with it from what I can see, is what's your future look like? You come in as a plumber, and traditionally you say, well, in 4 years, you're going to be a journeyman. And that's where the education really stopped, at the 4 years part there. With technology now, in my opinion, there's so many resources out there. You can cut that down in half the time now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Virtual reality, videos, things like that. So much easier to make a training video than it was 10 years ago. Um, so employers are finding that, but I still think they're lacking on, you're going to be here. Why is being a plumber a good career? You know, you
Yeah,
don't have to unstop toilets for 40 years to be successful.
right. Yeah,
So,
and I think too another issue, and you touched on this a little bit, is the requirements are so different everywhere. The licensing can vary by, county, zip code, city, municipality, and so just even in your area to know what you have to do X, Y, and Z is it's a challenge. And so with technology and with trying to bring together a lot of these conversations, we're hoping we can influence that. We're also working on licensing costs. I mean, in certain states, I won't name any, but in certain states, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And sometimes that's just too high of a hurdle for people to be able to do. And you need those things before you can get your insurance and before you can become successful. So helping take down some of those hurdles are things we're looking at as well.
yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Yeah, I heard a guy that was talking about, he was asked about building submarines. That's a big project coming up, and we need welders. And where are we going to get all those? And the guy's answer was, when they're from 8-year-olds.
Yep.
So is if that's the turning point of changing a young person's mind into being able to do something with their hands and their craft and being successful, you know,
Gotta work
we
early.
have to hit them multiple times in life.
You're absolutely right. And early, often and early.
Yeah, often and early. That's the way to say it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Um, I was curious about the boys club, boys and girls club.
Yeah.
What do you do with the boys and girls club again?
So thereafter, we just started this pilot, we just launched it, and we are working to develop curriculum with them for their after school program. So the
After
kids
school programs.
or their youth clubs in general, it could be on the weekends, but so that they have something that like, here's this kit and this curriculum that you can build this birdhouse or build this, picnic table and teach these kids these hands-on things alongside them while they're both in the elementary school after school program or the youth clubs as they get older.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that. I know in my early days, I was dropped off at the Boys and Girls Club for till the parents got done working
Yeah,
type thing. And it was, good times in my life.
yeah.
But um,
We had
I
a
also think the opportunities there to make some generational changes with somebody that goes, the parents might not be able to afford college and it's been a, lower income status. And the trades one person successful in the trades can change the rest of the generations coming out of that family.
You're right. It's generational wealth. Absolutely.
Yep.
And I
yeah,
think, again, and path2pro.com can lead you to the Path to Pro network, which is our business side investment that's almost like LinkedIn. We have thousands of Home Depot pros looking to hire people right now. And some of them are looking for experts, some of them are looking for subcontracting, some of them are looking for runners and hourly people to come and just start their journey. So anyone can do it today. It's not the hurdle to get in is not very high. And so that we're trying to, make sure that that's available to everybody.
yeah. And
Fantastic.
yeah, the general wealth, the general knowledge, it gets passed along, and this is where it starts. Where the partnerships is, it's not one all say all. It's going to be a community effort, a whole country effort, a whole, just people connection. People need to see it, people need to hear it, they need to feel these stories. So we're just excited to see what, obviously with the resources that foundation and you, Erin, and the whole team have been able to put together. And what the future holds. It's super exciting. I'm excited. So
I'm excited too. And it's an honor for me. And so thank you to our company that funds us. Thank you to our vendors. A lot of what we do is because of our sponsorships from our vendors that pay into these programs for us. So it's an honor to, be able just to represent that effort.
Really is. Really is. Well, thank you so much. I mean, there's endless questions, endless conversation we can definitely have. So if anything, we'd love to, just, have you back and talk more about the foundation and other key, things that are happening. And we're excited to want to get this out to everybody so they can share it with their friends. Again, if it starts at 9 or right there in the high school age, all the kids need to hear this, the parents, educators, everyone. So we're
You
excited
can
to.
have a successful career in the trades, regardless of your age,
Yes.
ethnicity, where you come from. Anybody can do it. We're here to help you make that happen. So thank you for having me. It's an honor. And I'd love to be back anytime you'd like to talk about it. So
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. And yeah, I know you had that last word right there, but what's the best way to reach out to you, the team? Let's say if we're trying to direct this out to that younger generation, can we find them everything online?
So if you go to path2pro.com, there's contact information on there that'll come to my team, and that'll get disseminated to both the foundation and the business and make it to the right person. So you can also just search Home Depot Foundation. You'll learn about our grants programs there. But path2pro.com specifically has information on what it's like to work in the trades. And the more people we can have visit that and get engaged, the better.
Amazing. Thank you so much again, Erin. Jeff, any last words?
No, I'm just truly a Home Depot fan, an HBI fan, as I talked about. Been to the Boys and Girls Club growing up. You're just hitting a triple home run for me, having you on there. And thank you.
We appreciate you too. You've both been customers of the Home Depot, so thank you for your patronage, and thank you for what you're doing now too.
Absolutely. Little by little, brick by brick. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Trades Podcast. Make sure to share this out with everybody, and we'll see you guys at the next one. Thank you.